This is UN News. I'm Connor Lennon. It's been 3 decades since the beginning of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda, an almost unimaginable slaughter which saw an estimated 800,000 people killed in just 100 days, an episode that shocked the world. Eugene Murangwa was a footballer at the time. He was playing for Rayon Sports, one of the top teams in the country, based in the capital Kigali. As a Tutsi, he was in extreme danger when the genocide began. But despite being well known, he managed to survive, despite the attempts to kill as many Tutsis as possible. He says football saved his life. 30 years on, Eric is based primarily in the UK. He works as a genocide education campaigner, and he's an advocate for sport for development and peace. And he's kindly agreed to share his story with us today.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you so much for being with us. I know you're based in Kigali, the capital of Rwanda right now. And we'll find out a bit more about what you're doing at the moment in just a moment. But I wanted to, if you wouldn't mind, going back to the beginning for you, for the beginning of the genocide. So I understand that when the Rwandan president at the time, Juvenal Habyarimana, was assassinated, that was on the 6th of April, 30 years ago, you were actually watching a football match at a bar. So just take me back to that. Like, what did you think at the time? Did you have any idea of what would happen next?
Absolutely not. It was a normal day like any other day. Well, looking at the window right now, being in Kigali, it was as good day as the one it is this afternoon in Kigali today. So the afternoon, I spent it on the football field with my teammates, and we finished a bit earlier on that day because we wanted to go and watch African Nations Cup on TV that was taking place in Tunisia at that time. So when we finished the training, we jumped on the football club coach. Then we were driven to different places where people wanted to go and watch the game. I went to this place called Baoba. It was and still is even today a mini hotel. So it was 2 doors away from my flat, and I watched the rest of the game at that place. I actually found my housemate, there watching the game, and we sat there, watched the game, finished, and then came to the second game, which finished almost around 10:30, 11 p.m. Kigali time. So yeah, that's how I recall the day that how the day was prior to the beginning of genocide in 1994.
And when did you start to realize that you could really be in danger, that something terrible was happening?
It wasn't up until 2, 3 a.m. that I was waken up by a heavy gun fight sounds and explosion. That was completely different from what we were used. So the first time we really had a clue of what was going on was when we switched on the France International Radio, RFI. It was around, I think, around 4 a.m., something like that. And then we had the news. We had the news on RFI that President Habyarimana's plane had been shot the night before, and the president himself was killed, and all those who were on the board. So that was the first time I really learned of what had happened a few hours earlier.
We now know that Hutu civilians had been armed with machetes and other weapons beforehand. So on day one, very quickly, they were being encouraged to kill their Tutsi neighbours, their friends, any Tutsis that they knew. And this was even happening at football clubs. Players at football clubs were turning against each other. Hutu players killing Tutsi players. But I understand that didn't happen at your club. Why was that?
My club has always been a very special football club that has this phenomenon thing about being the most popular club in the country, and the group of young men that I was with at the time they came from that kind of education background where we very much valued being part of that family.
And one of the really important teammates who helped you, or members of the club, was a man called Zuzu. Tell us a bit about Zuzu. Who was he?
He was, very well known in the cycle of Rayon Sports football club fans. He was a very interesting guy, very funny. So he was well known for his jokes, and he also happened to had become a member of the ruling party militia group. There's this group that was known as Interahamwe. An idea came from one of my teammates to go to Zuzu's place. So he said, we can't go back. If we go back to the house, there is a risk that they may come looking for you. Let's go to Zuzu.
He must have been worried because knowing that he was a member of the Interahamwe, and which meant that he was involved in leading killings, beatings, rapings. But you had a prior relationship with him. Were you worried that he would harm you as well?
Absolutely, because I was in a situation where I didn't have any choice. So I just said, you know what? Yeah, let's just go. Let's die trying than just standing still and wait for the death. When we arrived there, to my surprise, Zuzu accepted to take me in. Zuzu came out really laughing. He was saying, Toto, that was the nickname I was known for. I said, Toto, don't worry, come and I will protect you. And when we finish off with Inyenzi, that was the nickname that was given to the RPF soldiers, or pretty much to Tutsis. Inyenzi means cockroaches in Kinyarwanda. He said, yeah, when we finish with these Inyens, we'll go back and play football. So I'll protect you. Don't worry.
And then you eventually found safety, not at the Red Cross, but I know you stayed at the Hotel des Mille Collines, which many people know as Hotel Rwanda, for a while. But I mean, just to go back to Zuzu, it's an extraordinary story. And do you know what happened to him? Did you ever meet him after the genocide? And what are your feelings towards him now?
So he drove me, I think it was early May, and then dropped me by the gate of the International Red Cross headquarters. And, we said goodbye to each other. We didn't see each other for many, many, many years after. But then I heard all about what he was accused. And eventually I heard that he was caught when in the US and then extradited back to Rwanda. I don't feel really anything about him. Yes, he played some sort of part in my survival, but he has also been accused and then found guilty of playing a part in unimaginable atrocities. And the fact that he refused to come out and talk to me about this, I completely washed my hands on him.
Now, it's been 30 years, and we're speaking to you in Rwanda. You lived in the UK for a long time, you lived in Europe. What are your feelings now towards Rwanda? I mean, you've said to me earlier that you can see yourself spending more time there. So how have things changed? And do you think that something like the genocide could happen again?
Well, first and foremost, things have changed tremendously. When I went to Europe, it was because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't see myself, being in Rwanda soon after the genocide. I really feared for my life because of everything that was happening. The Rwanda of that time was a country full of fear, country full of hopelessness, anger, poverty, and everything. But today, Rwanda is a country that gives you hope. Is a country that clearly shows you that you can live peacefully with your neighbors. And that has given me the courage and the need to relocate back to my home country. So the country has changed big time. Soon after the genocide, I never imagined that it was ever going to be possible for the Hutu and Tutsi community to live side by side again, given what we had just gone through. Today, it's hardly, impossible to know that there is this, so-called Hutu and Tutsi thing in the Rwandan society, particularly among the young people. Young people, those who have known the Rwanda of last 30 years, they are completely different people. They don't know what we went through, and that really gives me hope and shows me that there is much better life ahead for Rwandans. But having said that, when you have gone through what we've gone through, it doesn't matter how well things are. In the back of your mind, there is always that feeling, that fear of what if, and then you see what's going on around us in the region, where pretty much similar things that caused what happened here 30 years ago are taking place in some of our neighbors. It reminds you that as much as Rwanda has come from afar, there is always a danger that things can unravel and go back to how things were all those years ago. But I believe there is enough willingness among Rwandans, especially, to never allow that kind of things to come back, and that is what really drives me, through the work I do, because I try to make sure that I'm instilling the understanding and the knowledge of history, but also the lessons that I've learned along the way through the support I received from my teammates and my football club fans, and through the experience of lived after genocide, seeing people who had wronged one another accepting to reconcile and be friends again. So the more we share that, I think the better we can put in place, create an environment that we never allow to go back and experience what we experienced here 30 years ago.